We realised that at the moment not many people can get to our wonderful woodland walk, so we thought we would bring the woodland walk to you with this guided video tour. The woodland behind me is centuries old. It's on a south-facing slope, which is absolutely perfect for plants to grow, and it's been the playground of generations of the Notcutts family when they were children. Now it's a protected woodland, and let's go in and have a look.
One great feature of the woodland walk is the wide range of native trees we have, such as oak, hornbeam, ash, horse chestnut and conker trees. One of my favourites we've got in here at the minute, right at the entrance, is this witch elm tree. Lovely delicate leaves, and you can see now these seed pods, which are a nice cream colour with a pink dot in the middle, really are a nice striking feature as you enter the walk.
So unfortunately we're a little bit late to see these daffodils in full bloom, but just a little bit of horticultural knowledge for you. Daffodils don't look great like this, so just deadhead the top. Nobody likes to see the dead head of a daffodil, but if you can, try and keep that foliage growing for as long as possible. When there's no flower on a bulb, the foliage uses photosynthesis to store lots of energy in the bulb, ready for a flower next year. So the longer you can keep the foliage on, the better your flower will be next year. On the other side of the path, we have nettles. Seems a bit bizarre to talk about stinging nettles in a woodland walk, but butterflies absolutely love nettles. They're their favourite food source if they can get it. So if you've got a patch of grass or a patch at the back of your garden that you can have some nettles just to grow freely, then do so, because you can see already today there are plenty of butterflies around, and it's a real good wildlife attractor to your garden.
Such as native trees that we have growing in the woodland walk, there are a few sort of non-native intruders, such as this giant orcuba you can see here, possibly spread by seed, or more likely a plant that accidentally found its way into the ground here. So with native trees, we've also got native perennials and native annuals, such as wild borage, wild garlic, snowdrops, foxgloves, and this garlic mustard plant we can see down here with its delicate white flowers and its almost stinging nettle-like leaves. It's a biennial, which means it takes 2 years to grow from seed to its full cycle into flower and then die.
Around the woodland walk, you'll see lots of piles of logs. They're not accidental, we've left them there for a reason. Lots of insects, lots of small mammals love to bury themselves in the log piles in order to stay warm, and it's a great source of food. The more insects that end up in the log piles, that then attracts birds, so it really gets nature within the woodland. Behind me here, you'll see some holly, native to England, and the great thing about holly, as well as being a lovely dark glossy colour, but it has lovely bright red berries in the winter, which is a great food source for birds.
The building I'm currently standing in is the ruins of an old apple store that's centuries old. Many years ago when it was built underground, so it was a lot cooler to preserve the apples picked in the orchard just down at the bottom of the hill there.
Not all varieties of daffodils flower at the same time, so even though we saw earlier some that have now died and gone over, these gorgeous double daffodils here, bridal crown, are still in their glory and in their peak. So when you're planting daffodils, if you buy a mixture of varieties, plant them at the same time, it will elongate the amount of time that you've got blooms in your garden. As well as being surrounded by these amazing native wildflowers, we've also put lots of bird boxes up into the trees. The trees will naturally attract birds anyway, but we wanted to make sure that plenty of bird species had lots of room in order to nest and stay here for a longer period.
Throughout the walk, there are 10 different sculptures, all made from reclaimed timber that have either fallen in previous year's storms from the woodland floor. This sculpture here, this giant sphere, is to represent the circle of life within the woodland walk. Just like a circle, this sphere is never ending, meaning there's no beginning or end. The cycle of life within the woodland walk will just continue.
So we've mentioned that there are lots of different sculptures on this woodland walk, and these badgers are a great example of how these brilliant sculpturists can do with wood. Behind me, on the other hand, is a live badger set. The yellowy, orangey soil shows us that there's something going on here and there's some activity. Badger sets are protected by law, which is why we've got the path to the woodland woodland walk well away from the badger set so that we avoid any disturbance whatsoever. Badgers are nocturnal creatures, so unfortunately we won't see any today, but if you come back during kind of dusk or dawn periods, you may be lucky enough to see some.
So down here, I'm currently with a sculpture of a mole, as you can see, coming out of the soil, digging its way out. An interesting fact about moles is in with 1 hour, they can dig up to 18 feet long, which is really quite far for such a small creature. Moles also have a fantastic sense of smell. This is to make up for the fact they have very poor eyesight. Having spent most of their life underground, they don't really need to see, but they need to smell to be able to smell out food, such as worms and other bugs. Here you can see this oak tree that's fallen down in the wind several years ago, but with a little bit of root still left in the ground, is managing to reshoot, so you can see the lovely fresh shoots coming up.
So we spoke earlier about the main entry and exit point of the badger set, but it's not just there that the activity happens. Most of the woodland walk under the ground has got lots of interconnecting tunnels that the badgers use during their daily lives. Every now and again, an additional entry and exit point pops up, and you can see that behind me. Not as large as the initial mound, but you can still see that orangey yellow soil where there's lots of activity as they're digging up the soil in order to get in and out of their set.
Just down to the left of me, you can see a sculpture of a barn owl. Along with barn owls flying around in the woods, you can also sometimes see little owls as well. Two interesting facts about owls. Owls have 3 eyelids, one set for blinking, one set for sleeping, and one set for cleaning the eyes. Owls also, when they fly, don't make any noise at all, making them the perfect aerial predator. Another sculpture you can see is a muntjac here. Muntjacs are the largest mammals we have that come and visit the woodland walk, and every morning when me and Darren come to unlock in the early hours of the morning, you can quite hear the distinctive barks of muntjacs, which can be quite haunting at times. Muntjacs, unlike other deer, have a set of tusks that come out of their mouth, which they use in rutting season to fight with other muntjac, and also to chew through hard foods.
During the Great Storm of October 1987, lots of this woodland actually became so damaged it was very difficult for people to visit it, and it wasn't until all of the work that was undertaken over the last couple of years that we've been able to open it up to the public again. However, the clean-up job wasn't quite as it would seem, and a lot of the fallen trees have just been left in order to provide a great sanctuary for wildlife. Behind me you can see the root ball of an amazingly tall tree that unfortunately was blown down during this great storm, and we've just left it here in order to be a great habitat for bugs, wildlife and birds alike. So thank you for joining us on our virtual tour of our wonderful woodland walk here at Notcutts Woodbridge, and we hope to see you in person soon.